Okay, it's August 1917. Eastern Front, as you can see here, the Germans have been advancing with casualties. They attacked right here. They had a decent attack on 3 different fronts and did take the Hex, but they did take some casualties doing it. More or less, there was a couple of half exchanges, and that kind of it was losses on both sides. And they attacked here, and well, there was a fort there, if not, but it was only a 1 defense compared to the 2. Here they attacked there, and there was some casualties. They did lose some artillery and some infantry in the process in exchange, taking out that Hex there. And there was 1 Russian demoralized unit that had to fall back to there. Here they dug in the units that were there. Austrians went on the offensive. There was the cav that was parked right there. They did attack it, but there was 1 exchange where the Austrians did lose 1 unit in the process of taking it out, but they did link the road back up there, the rail lines. So that was a full extent on the full Eastern Front for the Central Powers. And when you get over here, Italians moved units, formed up a defensive perimeter along right here. That's going to be a pretty tough nut to crack right there. And they also had some units. Germans moved units. They had a unit here that dug in, and they moved a unit here. And they got a lake in between here that's impassable. And Austrian moved some units into here, and also the Germans moved in and filled the gap right there. So Austrians moved some more units in. So it is digging in and moving units to fill the gap. But right now it's hard to say if the British do have the strength to go on the offensive at the moment, because, well, they took some major casualties in the last month, but we'll just see what happens here. They're getting close to Budapest, which is right there. So they are 3 hexes away. So it is possible they can get to Budapest. Just depends. Will the Italians go on the offensive? They've basically built their units up and railed them in, got them into position, moved units around. So now they have some full army groups right there. Not very strong units, not even comparably to what the Russians have, but you can see even a 353 can be a pain when it comes to attacking. You can't leave them in your rear because they can move out. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can get to about right here if they wanted to. But right now, after the last month's battle, they're just kind of hanging in there. All right, so that's everything that happened this month for the Central Powers. We'll be back. All right, here we go. It's August 1917, Eastern Front. As you can see here, the Russians ran in some reinforcements, pulled everybody back over here, shortened their lines out, and consolidated. So reinforcements came in and consolidation by pulling back. And that pretty much shortens this whole area defensively, and will give them a turn where they can entrench while they're waiting for the Germans to catch up. Because these German units will be able to catch up, maybe attack, but it's hard to say if that is possible yet for the next turn. So that gives them an opportunity to at least have a turn of digging in. Now over here, the Russians attacked here and had, well, there was a bunch of stacks here, so the Russians did lose 1 complete army group. So did the Germans in a bunch of exchanges. So that's just the nature of the warfare. I call that attrition. Also, the Romanians and the Russians attacked, and here, and you can see that there was a couple exchanges, and one attack failed, and that ended up with the Austrians did hold the hex. There was one attack or attrition by the Romanians, so they get wiped out. But then they had also, I think it was an exchange or something, that resulted in some Romanian troops getting taken out, along with some Austrian-Hungarians. But the Austrians held. Over here, the Russian cav came around the flank, attacked that one Austrian unit that was parked right there, and demoralized it and kicked it back to there. So that was interesting, a little attack by some Russian Cossacks. Let's call it that. They're Russian Cossacks. So quite interesting how that worked out. But, at the moment, they're pulling the Germans this way. It's like, we can fall back, give some ground, but they're also putting pressure on the Austrians over here and the Germans there. So maybe the Russian high command is like, all right, well, if we fall back here, lure them this direction, maybe we can do an end around this way. Maybe that's what they got planned. It's hard to say. But it's kind of looking that way. That's right. The Germans are going to have to put some defensive troops around here because this whole area is now open for attack. All right. Now, things got really interesting over here. We found this newfangled, the British unleashed some interesting new weapons of war. Tank warfare has showed up in Austria. Yeah. Historically, it was in France. But the Battle of Cambrai happened actually down here, like outside the Budapest. But there was some German troops that were dug in here, and some of the best British troops that there is in the entire British Army are right here. And they also had this new high-tech weapon called tanks came in here and helped out, and they went smashing through the lines, and, well, they just crushed. And it was like, I rolled 9s and 10s when I did my attack. It was unbelievable. So they did just mangle them right there. They did an attack here and demoralized the German troops and kicked them back to there. So the British did have some success, and they moved some troops up here holding the crossroads right there to get the supply lines going that direction. So that is a critical junction right there. So that has to be held by the British because that helps supply their troops over here at the moment. Even though they're getting supplies from this direction too. But these guys over here, this is very important to them. All right. So that is the end of August 1917 for the turn. And we'll just have to see what's going to happen, because right now it's looking like way over there in England, the American Army has been released. Historically, it's okay. You're now released for operations. So, we'll just see what the Americans do. They're supposedly only operate in France and Belgium and northern part of Germany. But right now, historically, they worked with the French. There's no France right now, so maybe they'll do amphibious landings. Who knows? Maybe they'll hit the beaches the next turn. But they're now eligible for action. All right, we'll be back.